Having just finished season 2 of Blue Lock, it really wasn't that bad. If only the entire season was animated like the last 2 episodes, it would have been great. But I digress. The story is mainly focused on the character Isugi and his struggle to become the best striker in the world by joining the Blue Lock program, where he will be put up against other strikers trying to achieve the same thing. But if we were to shift the perspective to a different character, I'm sure you'll find it quite hilarious. For a minute, imagine you are Kira Ryusuke. You're a high school student playing for your school's team in the regional's final game. Your team is leading 1-0. Your opponents have the ball, and you see their number 11 running towards the goal. You don't even bother running back, cause once he scores, it'll be a tied game and you'll be heading into overtime. As you watch what you assume to be an inevitable goal, you see that the number 11 decides to pass it at the very last minute instead of taking the shot. You hear the distinct and familiar sound of the post being hit as his teammate fails to score such an easy goal. You decide to run towards their goal, and you get an amazing long pass from one of your teammates. You easily control it and rush towards the goal, and you decide to avoid the same mistake their player did, and you take the shot yourself. Scoring the second goal of the game and shattering any chance for a comeback, you celebrate as the game comes to an end, and you hear the cheers from your fans, and you are pulled away for an interview. You are feeling quite unstoppable and the MVP of the team. From the corner of your eyes, you see some of the opposing team members cry from the loss and leave the field. That doesn't seem to bother you though, it just means your team was better. At some point though, you get an intriguing letter asking you to participate in the Blue Lock program. They must have seen your game on the news and you're probably being scouted. You're eager to show them your skills that you can hardly sleep. When the next day arrives, you make your way to the address given on the letter. When you see another student standing in front of the building, you recognize him. His name is Isagi, and you played with him on the opposing team. You introduce yourself in a friendly manner and hope he holds no hard feelings for you. As your conversation comes to an end, you both enter the building and make your way to the meeting hall. A room packed with eager teenage soccer players who think they're hot stuff. There's even another white-haired character. They are all just waiting around until the lights go off and this tall, bespectacled madman named Eagle struts in and basically says to you all, "Congratulations, you're all losers." The man called Eagle flips Japan's polite, team-first, oriented soccer culture onto its head, insisting that the only way to produce the world's best striker is to create a Hunger Games style showdown where selfishness is the ultimate weapon. And to accomplish that, you would have to stay at Blue Lock. That's when you speak out. You tell him that everybody here has a team they care about, and some are even going to nationals. How can anyone abandon their team for a strange program like this? It seems your little speech has others agreeing as well. Eagle cranks up the drama by telling everybody that being nice is a surefire path to eternal mediocrity. You either crush your competition with monstrous Eagle or pack up and go home. That's when your boy Isugi takes off. He is sold. Others around you start to run towards the door, and with little time to think, you decide fuck it and run forwards as well. You are then taken to the Blue Lock facility and given some stylish workout clothes. You are sent to a room with a handful of other participants, and luckily for you, Isugi is placed there too. It's nice to have a familiar face, plus with him around, you can feel a sense of ease, since if anybody is going to get eliminated first, it's probably going to be one of the lower ranked players. Mr. Four Eyes appears on the large screen again and explains the challenge to you. You'll be playing tag with the ball, and if you're hit with the ball, you become it. Last person being it with the timer runs out will be locked off. Pretty simple. Also kinda ridiculous, but you play his game because you want to prove Eagle wrong. As the time counts down, with a minute left, Isugi becomes it. How unfortunate, but better him than you. That's when you see the monk slow down. Seems he injured his ankle. You urge Isugi to tag him with the ball, but he just stops and goes into a deep thought as the timer counts down. Why is he wasting his time just standing around? Kick the ball at him already. You see that Isugi turns around and decides not to tag the helpless guy. That's when the kid with yellow highlights takes the ball from Isugi and rushes straight for you. What the fuck? Why? What did you do? As you jump over his shot to avoid the ball, you see the face of this freak as he jumps and tries to kick you right in the face, no less. Like, what the fuck is going on? Is this monster trying to hospitalize you? You sprint and try and put some distance between you two, and you barely notice as you glance back that weird, unpredictable genius pulls an insane spin kick that looks nothing short of sorcery. But of course it's completely off the mark, soaring way above your head as the clock ticks down to 5 seconds. At this point, all you gotta do is not get tagged. That's when you see it. The ball lands right in front of Isugi. Man, how lucky. If Isugi avoids it, Bachira will be sent packing. But then something catches your eye. Isugi's stare is intense, like he's dialed into another dimension or something. There's no way he's going to end your career, right? You are on friendly terms. And then with 1 second left, he kicks the ball to you. And to make things even worse, he kicks it straight to your face. You're in clear shock as blood seeps from your nose. How could Isugi do this to you? That's when Ego chimes in and tells you to leave. But you won't take this lying down. You try and argue back. Clearly you're better than most here and you shouldn't be the one going home. But Ego ain't having any of it. He explains his reasoning and tells you to lock off once more. You are filled with rage. Bashira came out of nowhere, and with Isugi they teamed up on you. It's not fair. But you angrily leave the facility. On the bright side though, at least you'll be able to go to nationals with your team. After a couple months have passed, you are mindlessly scrolling through social media when you see the most ridiculous headline ever. Japan's under-20 team is set to play against Blue Lock for the spot to represent Japan in the World Cup. How ridiculous. You roll your eyes convinced that the under-20s team will run circles around those wannabe ego freaks. Game day arrives, and out of sheer spite, you decide to tune in, only to have your blood boil the moment you spot Isugi on the Blue Lock roster. That should be you, not him. Now you're cheering for the under-20 team with all the pettiness you can muster, fully prepared to watch Blue Lock's dream get crushed and humiliated, just to prove that a well-functioning team outclasses a bunch of greedy strikers any day. After a fierce back and forth match, it's a tied game, and it all comes down to the last minute. You watch as Sai slices through several Blue Lock players, only to be shut down by his brother Rin, who after a series of attempts deflects the ball back just barely. It slips over the defender's head, and almost as if fate itself is mocking you, you see the ball land right in front of Isugi. You stand there, heart pounding, as he slams a powerful shot into the net, sealing the win for Blue Lock and leaving you simmering with disbelief that this upstart egoist has once again snatched what should have been your moment. On the bright side though, if Isugi does become the best striker in the world, you can proudly say that you once scored a goal against the best striker in the world.